Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, please like, subscribe and share. In today's lesson, we are going to talk about electrical power, one of the most important topics in electricity. Look around your house, your bulbs, your fans, pressing iron, electric jug. All of them make use of electricity. But have you noticed that some appliances consume electricity faster than others? The concept that explains this is known as electrical power. Electrical power is defined as the rate at which electrical energy is being converted to other form of energy. Example, light, sound, and heat. The unit of electrical energy is watt. Electrical energy, electrical power, right? Power. That's the unit of electrical power is in watt. Electrical power. Then the unit, SI unit, International System Unit, is watt. Watt. Then the symbol is W, capital letter W, that is watt. 1 watt. 1 watt means 1 joule of energy used per second. So here 1 watt is equal to 1 joule per second. All right. Formula of electrical power. You know that power is equal to energy all over time. Power, power is equal to energy all over time. So here electrical power is equal to electrical energy all over time. Look at it. Electrical power is equal to electrical energy all over time. Now, earlier I said that 1 watt is equal to 1 joule per second. Now look at now, when you have power here, power which is measured in watts. Here I told you that electrical power is measured in watts and is equal to electrical energy. Energy is measured in joule all over what? Time. Time is measured in second. That is why I said that 1 watt is equal to 1 joule per second. Alright, let's look at power, electrical power in terms of voltage and current. Electrical power in terms of what? Voltage and current. Now, when you are talking of electrical power in terms of voltage and current, power is equal to voltage, power P. Okay, let me write it this way. Power is equal to voltage multiplied by current. That means P is equal to VI. P is equal to VI. Now I want you to remember something from Ohm's law. In one of our previous lessons, I told you that Ohm's law explains the relationship of what? Of voltage and current. And I told you that V all over I is equal to what? R. So from this formula, I also wrote that V is equal to IR. Also I, if you are looking for I, is equal to what? V all over R. Look at this thing. I told you that you don't memorize this, you just understand. By the time you understand one, you can just make the other one the subject of the formula anytime you are looking for it. Alright, now if you look at this and look at here, I told you that power in terms of voltage and current is P equal to VI. Now, if you want to write power in terms of what do you want to write power in terms of what? Current and resistance. Now let's look at the board. Then now, here P is equal to, now you want to remove this and you look at the Ohm's law here. From Ohm's law here, you see that V over what? V over I is equal to R. But what you are looking for now is V. Now here see that V is equal to what? IR. You now come here, instead of you writing V here, you now write I multiply by what? R. Okay, you just write it IR here. Then there's another I here, you multiply by what? I. And this you have I, and this is equal to what? I raised to the power of 2R. This is also the formula of power when you are dealing with current and resistance. Now look at now, what of if you have what? Voltage and resistance. How can you write power? How can you express power in terms of what? Voltage and resistance. Now you still look at this. Since you know that V, or P rather, is equal to VI, so here you are looking for I. Now from Ohm's law here, you are told that I is equal to V all over R. So you now come here, right? This is equal to, you have V here. Then instead of you writing I, you now write times what? V all over what? R. Are you seeing that? Now from here, you multiply this by this. That gives you what? V square all over what? R. So this is also the formula of what? Power. So I'm going to write them together here. So from this, you can now see that electrical power P is equal to VI. P is also equal to V all over 2 divided by what? V raised to the power of 2 divided by R. Then P is also equal to what? I square multiplied by R. You make use of of this based on the information given. You make use of this based on the information given. All right. I think we are going to take few examples. Let's look at few examples. Let's look at few examples. Okay, here, example 1. Example 1. Yeah. A bulb is connected to 240 volt supply. A bulb is connected to 240 volts supply and draws a current of 0.5 amps and draws a current of 0.5 amps, full stop. Find its electrical power. Find its electrical power. This is C. Electrical power. Then look at the question. Look at the question very well. A bulb is connected to 240 volts supply and draws a current of 0.5 amps. Find its electrical power. Now you have a bulb, and that bulb now is connected to a supply, the voltage. Maybe your generator, you just on your generator, and the generator, the voltage there is what? 240 volts. Let's assume that you don't know the power rate of that bulb in this case, you don't know the power rate of that bulb. But you notice that if you use your ammeter to measure, or you use your clamp meter, use the clamp meter to measure the current that is flowing to the what? To the bulb that the bulb is drawing, and you notice that you have 0.5 amps. Now from there you are asked to find the electrical power. From there you can know the power rating of that bulb. So here what you do is write solution. Now P, I told you that you make use of the formula based on the information given. So here you have voltage and you have what? Current. So remember that P is equal to VI. So here V is given as what? 240 volts. Then I is given as what? 0.5. So let me write it down here. V is equal to 240 volts. Then I is equal to 0.5 amps. All right, look at it here. Let me erase the question so we can go ahead with the solving. I'm going to divide the board. We'll write it here first before I come over here. Now look at now. Now come here, write that P is equal to VI. P is equal to VI. Then your V is given as 240 volts, which is equal to 240 volts multiplied by 0.5 multiplied by 0.5 amps. Now P is equal to, you know that 0.5 is the same thing as what? 1 all over 2. So here you can write that 240 times what? 1 all over 2, which is the same thing as 240 divided by what? 2. Right? Now P is equal to, when you divide 240 by 2, you have 1, you know, 2 cancel 2 here, then 2 cancel 4, 2. So you have 120, and the unit of power is what? Watt. So here is what? 120 watts. That means the power of the bulb is what? 120 watts. All right. So we are going to take another example. Just call this one example 1. So now we are going to take example 2. All right. Example 2. Example 2. An electric heater has a resistance of 20 ohms. Example 2. An electric heater has a resistance of 20 ohms. Has a resistance of 20 ohms and carries a current of 5 amps and carries a current of 5 amps. Full stop. Find its power. Find its power. All right, look at the board. An electric heater has a resistance of 20 ohms and carries a current of 5 amps. Find its power. Alright, let's see how to solve this. Let's see how to solve this. Before I erase this, let's write out the information here. Here we have, see here we have resistance here as what? R is equal to what? 20 ohms. R is equal to 20 ohms. Then here, you know that current is measured in ampere. I is equal to what? 5 amps. Alright. You are asked to find its power. Okay, let me divide the board by 2. Let me write it here. Now, solution. Now here, power here should be expressed in terms of what? Current and resistance. Now, if you look at the formulas of power, I wrote like about 3. One, P is equal to VI, then P is equal to I raised to the power of 2R, and also P is equal to V raised to the power of 2 all over what? All over R. So here, which formula suits the information given here? You have I and you have what? R. Now remember that P is equal to I raised to the power of 2I squared R. So here, you see that I is what? 5. So you have to come here and write that P is equal to 5 raised to the power of what? 2 multiplied by what? 20. 5 raised to the power of 2 is what? 5 times 5. This is equal to 5 times 5 times what? 20. And you know that 5 times 5 is what? 25. So here P is equal to, multiply this, 5 times 5, let me write it 25. I want to write it this way so that everybody will understand. 5 times 5 is 25, then multiply by 20. Now, P is equal to, if you multiply 25 by 20, that will give you, know that 20 times 5 is 100. So 100 by 5 will give you 500. So here you have 500. Remember to write the unit. If you solve any problem in physics, or in, let me just call it in science, then remember to write the unit. The unit is very important. The unit is very important. Do not omit the unit. So here power is measured in watt. So here is what is 500 watt. That is the power of that heater. Right. So if you look at this, you see that P here, let me explain again. P is equal to what? I raised to the power of 2 multiplied by R. Now substitute the values here to the formula and you get what? 500 watts. So if you found this helpful, ensure that you like, you subscribe and share for more physics